Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Music Den. I'm of course your host, Armando Venditti, hoping you guys are having a fantastic night. In this episode of the Music Den, I am going to give you another installment of live album Spotlight. And the album I've chosen to discuss in this segment is a fantastic piece of work, if I may say so myself, and I do. It is from Genesis, and the album is Seconds Out. Seconds Out is Genesis' second live album. The first one being Genesis Live from 1973, single disc album, with 5 tracks. This album, Seconds Out, is the first live album featuring Phil Collins on lead vocals. Peter Gabriel had left the band in 1975 at the end of the Lamb Lies Down on Broadway tour. Due to his dissatisfaction of being in the band, Phil Collins took up the mantle of lead vocalist after rehearsing a list of vocalists and felt that he could do it better. And with the encouragement of the band, he did do it better. It's got to be said. The bulk of the material on this album, there are 12 tracks, clocks in at 95 minutes and change. First of all, it was released on October 14th, 1977, reaching number 4 in the UK charts, number 41 in Canada, and number 47 in the US. Fared better slightly in Canada than it did in the US. The material covers the album's Foxtrot up until Wind and Wuthering. With the exception of one track, the album was recorded, music for the album was recorded at the Palais des Sports, June 11th to 14th, 1977, with one track, The Cinema Show, recorded at the Pavillon de Paris, on the 23rd of June, 1976. On support for this tour in terms of backup musicians, Chester Thompson, who had recorded with Weather Report, Frank Zappa, officially joined the band as a touring drummer at the request of Phil Collins, because he heard his work with Weather Report and loved what he did, also with Frank Zappa. On the track, The Cinema Show, that was recorded at the Pavillon de Paris, you have Bill Bruford on drums and percussion. That track, The Cinema Show, was recorded on the Trick of the Tail tour. The rest of the material was recorded for the Wind and Wuthering tour. Okay. Album was produced by Genesis and Dave Henschel, who had worked with them from A Trick of the Tail up until Duke. Then they parted ways. There are 12 tracks on this album, as I said. The production on this album and the feel for this album is fantastic. Anyone who ever doubted that Phil Collins could have taken the place of Peter Gabriel as lead vocalist, after hearing this and seeing them in concert and hearing this album, needn't have any doubts. He is quite simply fan-bloody-tastic. The album starts off with Squonk from A Trick of the Tail. Beautiful, sprawling track. It doesn't waver from the studio production at all. Very good track. Fantastic opener for the tour and for the album. The Carpet Crawlers comes next. Beautiful piano passage from Tony Banks, doing the overlay crossing of the hands on the piano. If I use the wrong term, guys, I'm sorry for that. Up next is the whimsical, funny robbery, assault, and battery, done very playfully, with Phil doing a nice Cockney accent, just having fun with this track, as he does with the rest of the material on the album. Afterglow, the beautiful ballad, I guess you call it, by Tony Banks is next. Fantastic keyboard work, a very emotional vocal delivery, very guttural, very heart-wrenching delivery. When I mean guttural, when I say guttural, I don't mean like, a harsh vocal, but it would just, Phil Collins gives everything he's got on this vocal, as he would with this track every single night that performed it. Fantastic. Next is Firth the Fifth from Selling You England by the Pound, a sprawling version of this, featuring a fantastic guitar solo by Steve Hackett. Steve Hackett, it's got to be said, and I'll say it, I think that he was underappreciated in Genesis. It's got to be said. He is a fantastic guitarist, composer. If you listen to his album Voyage of the Alkalite, that is a lost Genesis album from 1975, featuring Phil Collins on drums and backup vocals, I do believe. I have it somewhere in the house. Fantastic. He is a fantastic soloist. I mean, Daryl Sturmer is good when he does these solos, or when he did these solos. But come on, it's Steve Hackett. Give me a fucking break. Come on. I mean, he's great. I Know What I Like in Your Wardrobe comes next. It's an 8-minute sprawling piece. Again, very playful vocal by Phil Collins. A nice improv middle section done by Tony Banks. Next up is The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. Fantastic track. I love this track. Again, Tony Banks does the overcrossing of the hands in terms of the piano intro. This was a single released at the time of the release of the album of the same name. Didn't do as well as, say, the Carpet Crawlers did. Carpet Crawlers also bombed too, so at its initial release. Fantastic version of it. Doesn't waver too much from the studio version. And then comes the musical box, the closing section. Great. I mean, people remember Peter Gabriel performing this dressed up as an old man with the old man mask, and bent over and doing it in a character's voice. Phil Collins does a very emotional delivery on the vocal. Fantastic. That's only the end of side 2. Side 3 starts with the sprawling epic of Supper's Ready, clocking in at 24 minutes and change. The entire suite. And at the start of the track, all you hear are the fans in the audience, and then Phil Collins steps up to the mic and says, "Supper's ready." That's it. And that's all you need. Okay? And then they just kick into it and they go for it. And it's done majestically, beautifully, sprawling, epic, amazing. Again, anyone that called Genesis after Peter Gabriel leaving Genesis Light was mistaken. Case closed. Side 4 begins with the cinema show. Again, this is the only track that was recorded at the Pavillon the Paris on 23rd of June, 1976, featuring Bill Burford on drums and percussion. Another 10-minute plus sprawling track, fantastic. Then it goes into Dance on a Volcano. Dance on a Volcano was the lead-off track on A Trick of the Tail from 76. Again, when A Trick of the Tail came out, people were calling the album and Genesis Light, due to the fact that Peter Gabriel wasn't there. But what I think it did was it tightened up the songwriting. It was more linear. I mean, yes, they sung about different themes and that would fit, into the progressive rock field. But it was more linear, more A to B to C to D kind of a thing. The arrangements were tighter, the compositions were more cleaner, more on point, just fantastic. And then Dance on a Volcano, segues into the last track in the album, Los Endos. Beautiful instrumental track. Starts off with swirling keyboard passages and guitar sections, and then it goes in, the drums kick in, and it's very fast-paced, frenetic, almost a jazz fusion kind of a feel to it. And at the time, Phil Collins was also recording with Brand X, so you kind of have that Brand X influence on this track. And the track is going along great. Then it comes up to this it stopped, the drums stop, and then the keyboards come in to like a swell, and then you hear the intro to Dance on a Volcano. And then it goes into the ending section of Squonk. So they incorporated elements of Dance on a Volcano and Squonk into Los Endos. And on The Trick of the Tail, that ends the album. And it ends this album. It is a fantastic way to end the show. This album, for me, is superior, far better than, I would have to say, than Three Sides Alive, that was released in 1982. That's not to say that Three Sides Alive is not a good album. It is a good album. But to me, Seconds Out serves as a bridge between the work they did with Peter Gabriel, the more progressive, intricate work, and it acts as a bridge for them to continue on with the work that they were going to do with Phil Collins. Beautifully. I don't know. That is my very humble opinion of this album. It has been reissued and released many times. Most recently, it's been released in 2008 as part of a box set, Genesis Live, 1973 to 2007. If you can get your hands on that set, please do. I have it. It's quite expensive now, but you can also get that set covers the live albums from it goes from Live to Seconds Out to Three Sides Live. And this version of Three Sides Live, the version that was released in North America of Three Sides Live, on the third side, it's studio tracks, songs like Paper Late. This version of Three Sides Live is completely live. The fourth side is is a live recording of them on tour in 1982. This is included in this box set. Also, what's included is The Way We Walk live, complete, both the long and the shorts, and Genesis live in Europe from 2007. So if you can get your hands on that set, you'll have this album, Seconds Out, along with the rest of the live albums. You're probably going to have to pay something like $300 for it. You know, you can get Seconds Out on its own in a remastered version. It's a fantastic album. Please check it out. Let me know down below, what you think of Seconds Out. Do you like the album? Do you not like the album? Do you feel that Phil Collins was a suitable replacement for Peter Gabriel? Do you feel that Peter Gabriel should have stayed with the band? That should be another topic we could do. This idea that, you know, that band members should stay together. I was going to say lead vocalists, but band members that should stay together for the sake of the fans. Do you agree with that? Do you not agree with that? Let me know what you think. I have my own opinion on that. I'd like to know what your opinion is on that. So please, down below, please put your comments and your opinions on Seconds Out. I personally think it's a fantastic album. I think it's an underrated album. I think it should be given more attention and more of a spotlight on, which is why I'm doing this segment. And that's it for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to be doing a show with Peter Kent on Saturday. And we're going to be doing a discussion on Black Sabbath, Sabotage. Okay, I'm also going to be doing episodes hopefully soon, when he's available, with Bill Schuster on New Music Discovery, George Jackson, and again, the elusive Pink Floyd album ranking. Hopefully with Ryan Gavalier. If not, then it'll be with me and Bill Schuster. So for now, I bid you farewell. Please look after yourselves and one another, and I'll be back with a new video very soon. Bye for now.